Hey everyone, Joe Newell, Danville Sports, and we are out at Danville today, specifically at the youth baseball fields, as we delve a little bit into this brand new thing that's happening in our city, a tremendous opportunity for your kids in the form of a partnership between Danville Public Schools, MLB, and Nike. I have with me GW head coach Mike Pritchett. Coach is actually heading up this endeavor, even though he's got other responsibilities as well. I don't know how you have all the capacity for the things that are going on, but I know just from seeing online when the announcement came out a week ago, people are really excited in the city. You guys opened registrations, immediately had dozens of kids sign up almost right off the bat, and this is for next spring, yes. Right? This isn't for right now or next. It's not fall ball. This is next spring. So pretty exciting stuff. Obviously, you don't arrive at a moment like this just overnight. You guys have had a long process to get where you're at. You and I talked over a year ago about this, and you'd already been thinking on it for quite some time before that. Tell us a little bit about the process and the partnerships that have materialized to bring this new youth baseball league to Danville.
Like you said, it started years ago. You know, even prior to me actually accepting a job as a high school coach, I had this idea and this vision and tried to pitch it in different areas, you know, throughout the city, just to try to gain some support, you know, for it. But then as I became the baseball coach and I realized that I could get into a few more rooms that I probably couldn't get into before, this opened up an opportunity for us to be able to partner with Major League Baseball and one of Nike's subsidiaries of Nike RBI, which helps bring and revitalize baseball in the inner cities, you know, and baseball in communities such as Danville. So I'm excited. I am thrilled. Honestly, it's been hard to wipe the smile off my face. Not so that I can, again, puff my chest out and say, hey, I've done something so great, yeah. But just simply knowing, you know, that even for myself, that this is a big deal in a lot of ways for the community.
Yeah. Now, it's going to be a big deal for the kids that get involved,
yeah,
too. We're standing out here at two beautiful fields designed especially for young kids to learn to play baseball on. So Parks and Rec, City of Danville's done a great job with these fields. And you guys are now matching that up with, like, Major League looking uniforms, especially the hats are going to be straight from the teams themselves, but it's all going to coordinate and match up so that kids, when they come out here, they'll feel like that major leaguer they watch on TV at home.
Absolutely. Great philosopher Deion Sanders once said, look good, feel good, feel good, play good. No, but that's a big part of it. Baseball is one of those sports where, especially now in this age where it's a lot more expression, you know, through uniform of how you look, how you know, appear and show yourself, you know, in those ways. And this is just another layer of it, that each uniform will have the Major League Baseball logo on it, as well as the Nike RBI logo. So that the branding part is there, obviously, but also, you know, for a kid to be able to say, hey, I have on a jersey with an MLB logo on it, that's a big deal, you know, and the colors will match up with the schools that they're at, and then we will also find a Major League Baseball hat to accompany that uniform. And again, everything's going to look nice, you know, then like I said, those guys be able to feel good, play good, and, you know, later, maybe they'll get paid good.
Now, let's talk for a moment just about accessibility. Sometimes when people hear about a new league, especially one where you're going to have really nice unis and all that kind of stuff going on, first thing that in baseball, as we talked off camera, is not a cheap sport. So the first thing that comes to a lot of families' minds is, how am I going to pay for this type of thing? You guys have done a lot to remove those obstacles in terms of cost. Tell us a little bit about that.
So for players, it's free. I don't think you can get much cheaper than that. But for any player that wants to, you know, participate, all we actually do is register. You know, we are trying to do our best to take care of every other facet of that. We do have ways of getting donations for equipment and things of that nature. We just want to make it accessible, you know, to any player that wants to come out, regardless of economic background, social status, whoever you are. If you want to at least experience this beautiful game of baseball for at least a year, you know, we want to try to make that possible for you.
And the partnership with Danville Public Schools helps a ton with that as well, right? Yeah.
You know, you're basically just a school athlete at that point, you know, and I haven't had any of my varsity guys or JV guys for the baseball program ever have to pay, to play for the school. You know, so we want to treat this the same way, make that part exclusive to them at those schools, and just give, again, like I said, just give an opportunity.
Now, what kind of age group? I mean, I know we're mentioning schools here, but when you break it down, like by division or age group, what are we looking at?
Yeah, so each school, the goal is to have at least 3 teams out of
each elementary school.
Elementary school, right. Yes.
Yeah.
To at least have 3 teams at each elementary school. Kindergarten and first grade will play T-ball. Second and third play a coach pitch hybrid. And then 4th and 5th graders playing a traditional game. And with that hybrid league, we want to emphasize how to pitch, being able to go over mechanics of things so that the players eventually can pitch.
Yeah.
But we also know that, for the sake of time and keeping the game moving, that coaches would be able to be there to pitch, to players at that time, just, kind of move things along while the guys are learning.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. With the goal from you and I talking previously, the goal is to eventually add on middle school in addition to, but not right away.
Not right away, yes. Create an opportunity for middle school that really, when we look at that down the road, it becomes for those that may not make the middle school team, right, that they still have a chance to play and to develop so that they can help themselves out, whether it's the following year, for middle school or even down the line for high school. Baseball is one of those games where just because you aren't one of the ones selected early does not mean that you ever get excluded. You can find a way later. There's a lot of guys that are late bloomers that, show up in high school and all of a sudden, so it's the same kid that struck out all the time in Little League, but he got to high school, now he's a stud. So we want to create those opportunities as well.
You mentioned it a moment ago, skills development really critical to kids being successful playing baseball, or at least consistent and enjoying the game as a result of that. And certainly as they progress up the ladder to the high school level and potentially beyond, the earlier you can develop those skill sets, the better. In addition to that, you mentioned Deion Sanders a moment ago. Deion, of course, played at the major league level and obviously in the NFL as well, but he always said the hardest thing in the world to do consistently was hit a baseball.
Yes.
But the fine motor skills that you guys are developing in these kids, it doesn't just get relegated or confined to baseball.
Right.
They can apply a lot of these things to other sports, whatever they choose to do.
And baseball creates, like I said, that vehicle for them to do that. The hand-eye coordination and, like I said, the skills that it takes to play, to just function, through a baseball game, is transferable to all sports. And I've spoke with different even college coaches that are recruiting kids for other sports, football, basketball, those things, and they really love baseball players, because they know how transferable the skills are. So if we can introduce a lot of those things for kids now, it has lasting benefits that can take them beyond, the baseball field, or in addition to, the baseball field, as well as some of the other sports that they decide to play later.
Let's talk just a moment about the significance of, I don't want to call it bringing baseball back to Danville, but we've had a Parks and Rec League last couple of years. You've rebuilt, in the process of rebuilding, as your motto goes, brick by brick, the program at GW. But when you look at the history of baseball in Danville in particular, but the area as a whole, I mean, it's a really rich and super long history going all the way back to the 1800s, including team at the Danville Military Institute, the Danville All-Stars, the Leafs, the Braves, and of course, Little League used to be really big in the city as well. What's the significance of it to you to try to rebuild back out the health and wholeness of baseball in the city?
It means a lot. It means a lot to be in a position to be able to help and to do it. And for me, I would love for this to be something that is just added to that long history, of baseball in this area. Even when you deal with things like Peters Park, in the city, those things that people may often overlook or forget. I just want this to be something that's lasting for the youth for years to come, and that we can look back on this 10, 15 years from now and not just look at it in a way of like, oh, that would have been nice if it would have worked, but saying that, hey, this is a part of Danville's baseball history, which you said is very rich. It's not just a flash in the pan type of situation, but just want to do my part to just leave a little piece of a legacy for others to follow behind.
Now, folks that might be watching this, they'll say, oh, okay, Coach Mike, he's pushing this thing, DPS is behind it, you got Nike and MLB involved. They might step back and think, okay, it's sorted. But and I know, this thing doesn't come to reality in the spring. We're looking at possibly a mid-March start to this thing. it doesn't become a reality without a lot of help, volunteers, sponsors, you name it. What are you guys going to need in the interim?
Yeah, in the interim is definitely going to be a school liaison. Someone that can be a representative for each school.
Yeah.
That communicates with the parents and also identify some kids that may want to play the game. So them being that conduit between myself in some ways and the community that they often serve within their schools. It doesn't have to be a teacher. It can be anybody from the community that wants to say, hey, I'll take this school or I'll take that school to be able to help spread the word and get information out. As we get closer to game days and things, because the plan is that we can utilize both of these beautiful fields here, and each game day is its own separate event, and creating an environment that's family friendly and fun.
Yeah.
For them to be here. We will need help with game day staff when we get to that point. And then by way of sponsors, we would love for, or I would love for, the community to be involved, in this. It's a community thing for me to be able to give an opportunity for the players, but then also for businesses or other things like that want to help. Donations are always appreciated. It definitely makes the load lighter.
Yeah.
And we have ways of being able to, be able to market that, from a donation standpoint.
So on that note, whether it be donations or volunteering or whatever, and we can include this, by the way, in this post, y'all, so you know how to get in touch with people. If someone's interested, I know my next door neighbor is interested in helping. Who do people reach out to? How do people get connected?
For me, or for right now, it would be me.
Okay.
My information is all in the original posting, but then also, you can share at this point I realize my phone number is not as sacred anymore. So, you can put my phone number, email address out there, and then anybody that wants to, help with coaching, or wanting to be involved, they can reach out.
Yeah.
There is a process that even when we select the coaches, we will go through a background screening, those things done through DPS.
Yeah.
Not that, we want to make sure that whatever we're doing or whoever we're having, is safe, in that way, but also that we are, covering a lot of bases throughout that.
Yeah.
But if they just want to help or find ways to help, they can give me a call, they can shoot me a text, send me an email, however, and we can arrange, conversations from there.
What would be the message to families that have young kids at home that fit this mold, but maybe baseball's not at the top of their list, for whatever reason, whether it be cost or something else? Maybe it's not cost, maybe it's just they hadn't really put a lot of thought in. What would be the message to these families to motivate them a little bit to get their kids involved?
You'll be surprised at how impactful trying something new can be.
Yeah.
Never know what you may find. You never know the passion or the desire that you may find, by experiencing something new.
Yeah.
And not to hog up too much camera time, but it started for me. I had no intent of playing baseball after 1 year, but coming back out and experiencing something new sparked this lifelong passion and this mission and journey that I've been on, that some of my best moments as a child were had here at these two fields, and that if it weren't for trying something new, then I don't know if this would have been my path. So give it a try. You can always find something else after that, but you never know until you give it a try.
That's good. It's good. It's a new thing, but it's an old thing, right? Pretty exciting stuff, Coach, to see this come back to the city of Danville and to give access to more kids than perhaps have ever had access, with all the facilities, everything they need to be successful, and to take as much out of the sport of baseball as they possibly can. Pretty exciting time.
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, it's been hard to wipe the smile off my face, and I'm sure that even with the working aspect of it that comes up over the next little bit, it's still going to be just a smile from ear to ear, knowing, and especially as we get to opening day, I'm just going to speak it into existence now and, say that when we get to opening day, it's going to be a great time, and just to see the environment that it's going to be out here at these fields. Like, you know, somebody might have to come check on me later, you know, to make sure I didn't cry my eyes out too much. But I know that, you know, it's going to be a beautiful moment, you know, when that happens.
It's really exciting. I know you've already put in a ton of hard work on this.
Appreciate
a lot
it.
more to do to make it a reality, but it's here now.
Yeah.
Hey, folks, it's an exciting time. You need to get your kids involved in this. Even if they play other sports, they're going to take things away from baseball that will help them with those sports. It just taps into the history of Danville as a whole as well. I was even over at GW. They're putting up this new Hall of Fame wall over there. There's a number of baseball players over there on that wall now, guys that played professional baseball, that came through fields in Danville and just kept on going, man. So, like we said, there's a proud and rich history and heritage here. We want to give these kids that opportunity as well.
Indeed.
Hey, stay tuned. We'll put all the links to everything here in the article so you know where to go, who to get in touch with. As you heard before, not only do they need your kids, they need you to volunteer and to help. And if you know somebody that's willing to do so, please make that a reality. So come next spring, these fields are full of kids out here dressed to the hilt in Major League uniforms and bringing baseball back to Danville.